Shalom, brothers and sisters. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. This is your brother Ayathun back at you with another video. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. In this video, I want to expound a little bit on a video Elder Apostle Tahar did earlier today, I believe. Or he may have did it, actually, I believe he may have did it last night. But today, September 1st, 2020. And the video that he did is called Babylon Equals America. Let's deal with this subject. And I want to just throw a little bit of extra proof in there. So what I'm going to do is play a small excerpt of his video, and then I'm going to go into what I got. And if you haven't watched his video yet, you should go ahead and watch that one before you watch this one. That's a prerequisite. But let's carry on. And I got a new audio setup, so if it's a little noisy or background noise, please excuse me. I'm still tweaking, fine-tuning the audio things.
Jeremiah 51 verse 7, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Reading that line, we don't know what's going on, okay? It's talking about ancient Babylon. That made all the earth drunken. Well, wait a minute. The ancient Babylonians, Nebuchadnezzar didn't have influence over the, and by the way, the word drunken in a figurative sense means an influence. It says, that made all the earth drunken. In a couple of weeks, they're getting ready to have their General Assembly meeting, where you have all the major nations, even some of the small nations. They're going to all converge on the UN building, and they all have their name placards. It might say Iran, it might say Iraq, it might say Egypt, Israel, which shows you that they're all in cahoots with each other.
Okay, brother, so I'm going to stop it right there. Like I said, watch the whole thing. Whole thing is excellent, as always. Now, Apostle Elder Tahar went into Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, which actually I have here. And he said that all the nations are cahoots with each other under the influence of modern-day Babylon. And that's basically what I want to focus on right now. So let's read Jeremiah 51:7 again quickly. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Now, Apostle Tahar, Elder Tahar, was reading this during a lesson as if we would read it. A spiritual man reads the scriptures and starts putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So you read this first line, you don't know which Babylon it's talking about for sure. You don't know if it's ancient Babylon or modern day Babylon. So what do? You read on and you look for more clues. That made all the earth drunken. Now from this sentence here, after the comma, that made all the earth drunken, then you start thinking to yourself, well, this is not talking about ancient Babylon, because as Elder Apostle Tahar mentioned, Nebuchadnezzar did not influence the entire world. But similar to America, ancient Babylon was the epicenter of the world at that time. Matter of fact, I believe it's up to 9 wonders of the world now. But growing up, it was always 7 wonders of the world. And I believe Babylon has more than one spot. But I know for sure one of the 7 wonders of the world are the hanging towers, not the hanging towers, the hanging gardens in Babylon. So that's the splendor that that Babylon had. It was back then, it was known as the Golden City. America today is known as the Golden City. There's many similarities because spiritually they're one and the same. But as far as the judgment goes, when you're reading the scriptures, you have to know to differentiate whether what you're reading about is talking about ancient Babylon or modern day Babylon. So far, it's pointing to modern day Babylon because ancient Babylon did not have the world drunk. And as Elder Apostle Tahar mentioned, the world drunken means an influence, okay? An influence. Drunken refers to alcohol or wine, right? If you read on, it says, a nation have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. So I want to go into the wine part, okay? So the wine represents influence. Another word for that, I had another word in my head. It represents influence. Oh yeah, and it represents philosophy. Philosophy, influence. I give it one word, which sums it all up, and it is witchcraft. Now, some of you that are new that may be watching this may feel like you need to turn it off or switch to the channel. But yes, the wine represents witchcraft, and this witchcraft and this wine is controlled by the Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholicism is the wine that America has made all the nations drink of. And as Apostle Elder Tahar mentioned, that they're getting ready to have a UN summit meeting, and all the nations of the different leaders, even those that supposedly are warring with the United States, will all join together in a peaceful manner under the UN umbrella, which is governed by what? Roman Catholicism. And this is what I want to show you. That wine is Roman Catholicism. Now, if you go to, there's a website called Bible Symbols, and I'm just going to go here to prove that wine symbolically means doctrine or philosophies or influence. Doctrine, true or false, new wine or old wine. There's a scripture in the New Testament that says what? You can't put new wine in old bottles. And it's not talking about literal wine, it's talking about a doctrine or philosophy. In other words, how you would say it today, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, okay? Now this wine has a name. Well, they have a name for called Americanization, okay? Now, Americanization or Americanization is an influence American culture and business has in other countries outside the United States, including their media, cuisine, business practices, popular culture, technology, or political techniques. The term has been used since at least 1907. Now, if you read down, it says Americanization has become more prevalent since the dissolution of the Soviet Union in '91, and especially since the advent of widespread high-speed internet use starting in the mid-2000s. Now, I remember as a child growing up in the islands that long ago in the 70s, I would say maybe the 80s, when they started getting American stations, internet and cable. But I remember growing up, you in the islands or in other countries, you may have like 2 or 3 channels, and those 2 or 3 channels were local channels. And then you go into like I guess it was the late 90s when they started getting internet and they started getting cable and HBO and Hollywood movies. And this is when the influence of America really hit hard. And as you know or may not know, the television or the TV, what they call the boob tube, is used as a method to cast spells. The television, your cell phone, the media is nothing but an ancient form of the Urim and Thummim, what they call the crystal ball. So it's getting a little deep for most of y'all out there, so I'm not going to delve too much into that. But basically, the television, the media, the internet, marketing, all that is used to push American influence here in America and across the entire world. In the Bible, it would be known as wine. Okay? Wine. Now, what is the energy behind this wine? Well, in back of the dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust." But right above it, there's a pyramid. There's an all-seeing eye. There's cobwebs. There's an owl on the back of the dollar bill. So are they really talking about the God of the Bible? When you start studying more and more and getting deeper into the symbolisms, you'll start realizing that the God that they trust in is not the God of the Bible, but the God they trust in is Satan. And Roman Catholicism is Satan's religion. And there's no surprise, right? Because the scriptures talk about the prince of this world. So if the prince of this world is ruling, and let's say the prince of this world, they say in God we trust. So let's say the prince of this world was a righteous prince. Well, the number one religion in the world is Christianity, Roman Catholicism is a form of Christianity. Christianity can be broken into Roman Catholicism, Protestant, and what is the other? Roman Catholicism, Protestant, and Orthodox. Okay? Roman Catholicism is the number one influence over the whole entire world. And what I want to show you is that if you go to the Vatican, so here's the Pope, right? Let me see if I have it. Here's an aerial view of the Vatican. Now, the Vatican was so holy. Why is there a sun wheel? Well, you have that in the middle. It's called a sun wheel. Okay? There's a sun wheel here. In the middle of it is an Egyptian obelisk, which is against the scriptures. That represents a penis. This here, the circle and this tube going down represents a woman's womb. Okay? The Vatican City is the hub or the headquarters of the religion of the world. See, the elites have their power structure broken down into three factions. They have the religion, which is, and the religious headquarters, which is Vatican City. They have the military headquarters, which is stems out of Washington, D.C. And they have their financial headquarters, which stems out of the city of London. The Vatican, Washington, D.C., and the city of London, each are sovereigns. They each have their own laws, statutes, commandments, their own government, their own flags. They have their own set of rules. Now, the Vatican City, their age of consent used to be, well, I looked up, it said 12. Then they updated it to 18 now, or 16, I believe. But from what I understand, years ago, it used to be 6 because they would practice a lot of pedophilia, and it was lawful within the rules of the Vatican City. Now, if the Vatican City was such, a city of was all about the Most High in the Bible, well, why do they have ancient Babylonian symbolisms like the sun wheel and the obelisk and the worshiping of the female vagina, which all goes back to paganism and witchcraft? And then if you look at what the Roman Catholic priest wears, they wear the garments that the ancient priests used to wear for pagan worship, like the hat on his head. If you look here, let's see if I can get this to switch. As you can see here, this is the same guard that the high priest of Babylon. This is a priest of Dagon right here, which is a fish god. Okay, over here you see he has the broken cross, which is another symbol of witchcraft. Here you go. All right. So obviously the Vatican, Roman Catholicism is not about the Most High, not about, as they call God, is worshiping the ancient mystery religions of Babylon, which Babylon, they're responsible for what? This is where Nimrod, the Hamites or the Africans, this is where the Tower of Babel was being built by the philosophies of ancient Babylon. Here's another clue that the Vatican has nothing to do with God or the Most High. The Vatican City has the highest crime rate in the entire world. All right? The Vatican City has the highest crime rate in the entire world. So if this was a city of the Most High, it should be the city of peace. Why would the highest crime rate be in the Vatican City if that's supposed to be the home of the Most High? Now, this is what I really want to show you, brothers and sisters, here. Now, Pastor Elder Tahar made a statement. He said that this wine influenced the whole world, and the scriptures say what? That the nations have drunk enough her wine, and the nations are mad. So let me show you what that wine is. Let me show you how they're doing this. Give me 1 second. I got to cue it up. Okay, let me see if I can make this smaller. Shit, I can't. Alright, so let me explain to you what I'm playing here. This took place in 1986 in Assisi, Italy. This is a call to peace that Pope John Paul II had, and he called all the religious leaders of the world to come together. And what I'm about to show you is that all the religious leaders of the world from all different religions come together with the Pope, and in one accord they worship Satan, which shows you that all the nations have drunken of her wine, meaning of her philosophy, of her witchcraft. All the nations are in on it. Excuse me. I'm going to fast forward this. So you see the different leaders. You got Ammon there. They're all bowing down to the Pope. They're showing what? Obedience to the Pope and to Roman Catholicism. Because the truth of the matter is that all religions today come out of the Roman Catholic Church. All of them. Okay, so they've all have drunk of that wine. Let me fast forward. That's Elam, East Indians. Look at that. And they're dressed in the garb of whatever religion that there's a so-called the leader of. But here it is, they're over here bowing down to Roman Catholicism. What does that show you? Fast forward. Look at Ham. Look at leaders of Gadite religion. They got all nations of the world gathered together. And you got Pope John Paul II, which is a high priest on the left-hand side, which he's leading the ceremony. See that? That back there, that's a grove. That's against the scriptures. There's a part I want to see if I... So now they're all giving their obedience one by one. And there's a point here where Gad just starts smoking a peace pipe. Let me see, this is it. So you get the point, man. I just want to get to the part where... Look at this. They're all giving their obedience. Speaking their different languages. This is like the Tower of Babel all over again. All the different nations are coming together. And this is what they want to do, build that new world order. There you go. Simple as. Yeah, so you brothers and sisters, that's what the scriptures are talking about. Now, if you go to Revelation 18:2, it says, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and a hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird." This again did not happen to ancient Babylon, so it's got to be talking about modern day America. Verse 3. "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." This right here is the wine is the wine of her fornications. Fornication means spiritual fornication. In other words, it means witchcraft. To put in one word, witchcraft. This is witchcraft right here. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. All right, here you go. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And this is why they do this, because, in other words, to get down, to make money here in America, to be able to trade and get rich, as the scriptures here say here, they got to play ball. So in other words, they got to come and bow down to Roman Catholicism. They got to go to the UN. They got to come kiss the Pope's ring and kiss his hand, show obedience. All that for the dollar bill. You know, the love of money is the root of all evil. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of for fornication. And what is the wrath? The wrath is when the Most High sends them ICBM missiles. The wrath is the Most High's indignation that he's going to bring, because they have drunken the wine. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Okay? So I think that's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got. So brothers and sisters, I hope that just want to give you a little bit more ammunition, for when you read through this, or if you got to prove this to somebody else, there's just a little bit more ammunition for you to add to your arsenal. So with that, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Shalom.